Good morning. I am higher vibrations and so are you. And boy, oh boy, are we having an energy downpour. This is incredible, isn't it? The past couple of hours in particular, it actually is very interesting because this huge spike in the KP index, which I'll show you in a moment, occurred, or at least it was tagged on the 30-minute measuring that I follow, the HP 30 index, which is the KP index in measurements of 30 minutes. It showed that it was at 1:30 a.m. 30 minutes after I had been telling some few people have been texting me, some of my friends asking me about the energy we were having a day or two before and wanting to know when it was going to slow down. And I told him it was going to spike at 1 o'clock in the morning, Sunday morning, my time, Central Time. Anyway, I just think it's really interesting because that was channeled. I'm not taking responsibility for it. This is I call spirit, my guides, and a lot of other energies that come through. We have archangels. It was actually Archangel Michael who got me to even start my YouTube channel a long time ago. Anyway, um, what happened? We spiked, the KP index spiked, which I'm going to get prepared to show you. Here we go. Here we go. I'm going to refresh it first. So the measurement, the K, oh wow, we just barely had enough getting ready to go live. All right, let me grab this. Okay, so now I have it prepared so you guys can see it. Okay, now I can't find it. There it goes. All right. Check this out. Okay, so the measurement that we're looking at is a 30-minute measurement. And if you can see, it's kind of difficult to see, I realize, though, where that green line is at the very beginning of it, that is 3. That's the KP index of 3. Now, if you actually go through it and look at these different points, so start the first strike of red was at 1:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, and it went on until, oh goodness, 8:30. It went on. So that last really strong, tall red mark started or was at 8:30 a.m. Central Time. And then it decreased into the yellow. Though, if you look now, that, by the way, that spike was 8.33 on the KP index. It was almost a 9 again. And I find that really interesting because that happened for my time at 8:30, probably 8:33. I just wasn't awake. I didn't wake up until 10 something because it's been crazy. Anyway, so now if you see, we're actually back into some pretty incredible energy again. I'm going to go back to it and highlight over it. We're on a 5 right now. The KP index is 5. People who are sensitive to these energy increases will typically start to truly notice it at 5. Like sometimes we'll feel it and notice it at the lower marking where it says 3. Though up here on an 8 that we just passed through, that would be considered excuse me. What is the name? Man, that's so funny that I can't remember that right now. Oh, there we go. Geomagnetic storm, G4, which is considered strong. So a lot of us are feeling it, is all I'm saying. Not to mention all the earthquakes all over the place. I can't remember how to pronounce the place that one of the biggest earthquakes just happened, that's near to Tonga. So, I mean, all of you that are affected out there, my heart and love goes out to each and every one of you. Stay safe and full of love and grace. And, there's a lot going on. And on top of that, this conglomerate of energy that we've been getting and that we're still getting, that where that started to rise again was what I was kind of waiting for. I thought it was going to be a little bit later in the day. Is that, well, we have 3 major solar storms that are like rushing here. There's been a lot of talk about the size and kind of disagreement because for some reason, when it comes to these solar flares and solar kind of energy bursts from the sun, when they combine, 2 makes 3, the size or the energy of 3. I don't pretend to understand the science behind that, though now that there's three combining, it could very much feel like, maybe even a low grade to even medium grade X flare. And so that's what we're at right now. Like we're just getting that. So radiation storms and earthquakes and all kinds of crazy stuff. So, man, not being able to sleep very well, but weird kind of stuff though, not feeling like I'm overtired exactly until it's time to stop being, asleep, because I'm waking up earlier, but then it's just really weird. All of us are. It's very interesting. Earlier for me, for those uh, early morning risers out there, I'm talking like before 11. I'm so happy to not be waking up at 11 or even noon sometimes, but we're awake till we had been staying up till 7 or even 8 o'clock in the morning. Something, it was really weird. It's kind of like a strange thing that happens in being a go with the flow, homeschool, stay at home mom kind of person, so anyway, here we are. And now all of a sudden, just because I really do like getting up earlier. It's just based on, I still have a kid that can't sleep. She'll go to bed and just lay there. But anyway, Mariette says, hi, everybody. Days full of old anxiety triggers and days full of confidence. What a time we are experiencing. Yeah, dude. It does feel very turbulent. Like you're reaching up and then you're boom back down again. Like it's kind of crazy. I can also say that the turbulent energies that we're having feel like we're dipping lower than we actually are, because we're also reaching higher energetic planes now. Oh, just dropping my water everywhere. Good thing it has a lid on it. Anyway, there's a lot going on, by the way. Before I forget, otherwise I will. There's a lot for this month. Everybody I know are looking forward to the solstice. The solstice is going to be on the 20th of June. And that's the exactly at 9:42 p.m. Central Standard Time. That's June 21st, 2:42 UTC time. So if you want translation for that, and boy, there's a lot happening in that window of time. There's a triple conjunction happening with Moon, Saturn, Neptune. It's also, this is a very powerful day. Okay, let's put it that way. So that the day before solstice, and even before that and before that. But what's happening right now is there's a conjunction of Moon and Mars. And this is in the constellation of Leo, and you kind of want to have be outside where it's like dark, like I usually use the midnight marker to be able to see things like this. So just keep those things in mind. And then of course there is something that I didn't understand or know about, that is really cool about talking to different people from around the world, is because we keep our calendars differently than everybody, than the rest of the world in the US. We say the month number first and then the day of the month number after. However, everybody else does it where they do it the other way around. So, and because 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 5, which is the year, equals 9, that day is a 369 day. And those of you who know about the power of 369 and all that stuff, and so on and so forth, you understand how powerful of a thing that is. There is more code regarding that happening on the 22nd. There's a lot of energy happening on the 22nd, actually. We're expecting that to be a big energy influx window starting on the 18th, between the 18th and on for a while. But it's the really interesting thing about that one is the moon meets the Pleiades during the 22nd and the 23rd. And why is that significant? Well, of course, because the 23rd is involved as well, though it's the moon is a 27-day-old moon, which is 369 again. And if you just continue to add the 3. So I just find that really interesting. So anyway, a lot of stuff going on all over the place. Micro strawberry moon on the 11th. Anyway, I have a bunch, but let's talk about right now. So we're right now, what this is in between now and the 6, which is the 6-6 portal that I had totally missed. Didn't even think about it being the portal when Spirit kept pointing at that day. Um, anyway, through the 6, we're going to have a lot of incoming energies. There's going to be a pause. What Spirits explained to me, let the energies will kind of mellow out more after the 6, between the 6th and like the 17th or 18th. There's something also significant happening on the 17th. I've written it's the double star when Mars will pass very close to Regulus, and it's like in the constellation of Leo, like you know how Leo's like shaped like this, and there's a tail on the end, and it's like where back legs are, I guess. Those that star at the bottom, that's Regulus, and then Mars will like come really close to it, and it'll look pretty cool in the night sky. But anyway, in the western sky, early after sunset is the best time to see it, by the way. Anyway, yeah. So, and crazy dreams, so much stuff going on with the dreams. It's crazy, waking up over and over and over again, but you're deep in your dreams, and it's not like you're waking up to even get up to go to the bathroom or go and do anything else. It's just, and when I've leaned into this again with Spirit, they what I mean by again is I asked this once before, and they responded almost identically in the same way, saying that when I'm abruptly awoken, it's intended for more precise recollection of the content of that dream, meaning and this also is an understanding or awareness in conversation with these beings that it is something that's happening in a real way, more than what we've been led to believe over the years growing and stuff, that dreams were just, firing of your brain and what you had to eat kind of stuff. There's actually, it's astral travel. There's many indigenous peoples of the North American place, as well as other places. I've heard of the reference in the indigenous of Australia, as well as a lot of other places too, is that dreaming is called, or astral travel is called dream walking, because you're going to the same place of the dreams, just in awareness, full consciousness. So anyway, just keeping that in mind, we're doing a lot of stuff in there, and not always do we need to recall it. Like we receive what we require. However, first, in some cases, we're meant to remember it, and it would be best, easiest recalled when woken so often and abruptly. So I think, and I just found out, this is a weird little point of history. The earliest alarm clocks, as we kind of know what alarm clocks are today, would only go off at 4 a.m. and it would do it every day. I thought that was really interesting. It's like, what, 4 a.m.? That's really fascinating, because that's the time that like you finally settle back down to sleep again, because between like 2 and 4 is when the most like active times in the sleep period, So I think it's really fascinating. Hello, Deborah. Hi, Mila. Hope all is well with you. Yeah, I'm actually doing fantastic, though there's been a lot of energy, and it feels very euphoric and blissful, but there's also been like, wow, this is kind of intense. Now we got to stop and slow down and regulate a little bit to our 0 point in our center place. Yesterday night, during that really intense energy flux that we were having, that I showed you guys earlier, is here. I'm gonna actually show it again, just because I'm sure that some of you weren't able to see it. So then you can just get an idea of what I'm talking about while I speak of it. Is this intense spike of energy? I'm gonna refresh this. Yeah, so we're still over here. We're at 5 right now. We were just at 8, but this, around this window of time over here where I'm highlighting like this big 8, I think we got up to at 8:33 at a different time other than just this one. I must be mistaken. Yeah, it was at 8. Okay. And then this one was at 8 too, that we just recently had. Anyway, this is the KP index. This is measured in increments. Each one of these bars counts as one 30-minute block. So 2 of these lines would count as an hour. And this is UTC time, so you want to translate it to your local time zone. So anyhow, whoops. Stop sharing. There we go. During that influx of energy that we were getting at that time, I found myself to be really unbalanced emotionally. Like things that wouldn't normally frustrate me did. And I don't typically raise my voice. So when I do, and it's not even probably like a lot of people would expect when it comes to mother raising. For me, it just we don't do that. We don't have need for that. So when I do, it's like whoa, and I raised my voice twice during that spike, and all of us were like whoa, and I was like, okay, I'm grumpy. Look at the spike. I'm gonna take my break and be over here. So it's significant to note because it's so out of character for me, you know um, and so many of you others out there may likely have felt this too. This was probably when you were sleeping, though. This was around 2 a.m. when we were having this kind of stuff. We were tired as well, but it was very uncommon personality thing to have happen. So anyway, any of you are feeling that, check out our magnetic field taking hard hits. Oh yeah, you know what? I also wanted to show you that too. I don't know if you guys do. This might be something fun for you guys to see. I got to pull it up. And then along with this, we're also having a lot of stuff to do with the sacral chakral area. Is this it? I have so many different links. Nope. Saved in here. Maybe this is it. So we're having a lot of stuff to do with the sacral chakra and the solar plexus area. And so a lot of people who have a predisposition here, let's bring this one up. There we go. To anxiety or like some kind of mood instability, we will notice. Now, we have a lot of commercials on this particular screen. I don't know how to not do that, but this is, so check this out. So this red part right here, normally what you'll see is like what you like right here. See this purple right here? It's very faint. And inside there'll be like often it'll be a little darker colors. You can see here the measurement of the frequency, highest frequency affected, and red is an incredible energy. This is a different measuring stick here. You can see how it's like, whoa, maximum absorption rate. So this is the polar absorption rate. And when you see rainbow of any kind, especially if it's in these darker colors, then there's some really intense energy that the earth is just absorbing. Like she's just taking it in like a sponge. And so you're going to have some pretty intense energies moving through. And if you see, like this has been like the bullseye for a lot of this stuff, particularly just somewhere in the Pacific. I find that to be really fascinating. And these are the different, this is what the sun's doing right now. I wonder if this is, I think this is the wrong app to see it move. Oh, you can. So you see that, that this is just a measurement of the sun. So anyway, if you're interested, this is spaceweatherlive.com. And there's a lot of different tools and stuff you can utilize on this. In the meantime, I'm going to come back to my screen. And so anyhow, a lot of energy is moving through right now. A lot of energy. So now I'm delayed. Okay, here we go. I hope that's okay that I wander off and show you guys things like that. Let me know if that bothers you. If you like it, I'll keep doing it or I'll stop. I find it really fascinating, and it's useful to have these resources and know how to get to them. So a lot of these things I put in Telegram group, there's like different folders, and one of them is called Ascension Symptoms. One's called Solar Flares, and Solar Flares tends to, for me, encompass the Schumann resonance spikes that we get, the volcanics in earthquake kind of stuff, as well as like, solar flares. So I put a lot of things like that in there. Anxiety out of the blue. Yeah. Okay. This is just what I was talking about. I'm really behind on the comments. I apologize. I'm going to try to catch all of you as best I can and bring you up. But yes, I've had a lot of people who have a predisposition to anxiety or anxiety-like sensations that their sensations are having increased to become, hey, it's 3, 2, 1, blast off, destabilized in that way, temporarily right now, due to largely when these energies come in, what happens is it always activates our heart center. We always have some type of heart center reaction. Everyone gets something. Sometimes you don't really even feel it. Sometimes it's really intense where it comes to like palpitations of the heart and kind of like weird stuff with the heart. And so if we're predisposed whatever, we have a predisposition to anxiety. Typically when we feel our heart activating like that, then that individual will then go into the, oh no, like the memory of what panic attacks are. I'm not saying that's the only experience that each one of you are having. This is just common. And so feeling the heart activating like that will then trigger a panic or anxiety attack, and that individual will then, use their own coping that they already have. It's very difficult to do once you've already gotten there, right? So a lot of people, though, are having this experience right now. I've had so many people reach out recently. It's pretty intense. Hey, Ralph. Hey, Mila. Hi, Mila. Hi, all love from Scotland. Good to see you. You're always here. I can always depend on you. Hello, Claire. A lot of you. A lot of you. I mean, it's like there's a handful of you that it's like, I just know you're going to be here. And I really appreciate it. I appreciate knowing, I'm always going to hear from Vegan Vixen. I'm always going to hear from Carmen. I'm always going to hear from Deborah. Trisha, you've been coming a lot, like to all of you guys. I know if I would say all the names, I would take a long time. But just, just want to say thank you, all of you, for your enduring support and just for showing up, and creating this community. I'm not the one that made this community. You guys did. I'm just a container, and you're showing up. And I love that. And I love the feeling, the bonding that's happening in the conversation over here, and with me as well as with one another, creating lasting relationships. It's just beautiful. Carmen, hi y'all. The vertigo dizziness is killing me. It's back. Yeah, this has, so what I find it to be really interesting, it feels kind of like like a tickle, or even, in your lower back. It almost feels like your back is going out for a minute when it comes to, some people have this. I've had this before a handful of different times, when enough energy is moving through you at once, and that turns into, or often is then translated into, the side effect of this sensation of vertigo and dizziness. I find it to be, I've noticed the correlation to, and so we're also, I drew this a long time ago. I ought to draw a better diagram, but this is kind of what's happening. If you can see this image, it's not a very good image. I just did it really quickly while I was talking to somebody. But so what this is, okay, so this is the person looking this way, right? And here they have like this is their back, this is their sacrum, and this is where rainbow energy is moving into their sacrum, and it looks kind of like solid. It's like solid like water, but it's not. It's energetic, and it's also cold. But it's like, it kind of just moves like, I don't remember that movie, The Abyss, where the water was just like, that's what it does. And it's rainbow and a little bit more, it's clear though, anyway, it's moving in up through our sacrum, which is in the lower region of our back, very, very, not quite our tailbone, and it's going up through all of our chakras and moving through the spinal region. And so it's activating the back stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on with the back right now for a lot of people. This helps to relieve it, is then to visualize it moving up and through every area like I had described. And then when you get into the head, let it hook and create like, an ankh. I'm trying to make it ankh. Well, I see, I don't know, like that. And then anyway, and go back down again. You can cycle it back up again, but I find it most useful to let it move through your root chakra and down, like through your pelvis and out, like energetic digging of a root into the ground. This will assist a lot of stuff to do with headaches, as well as spine and this dizzy balancing stuff. It's just, there's also a lot of people talking about the vibration of the solar plexus area. I've also experienced it. Solar plexus and sacral is just vibration. Okay. It's really weird. And we've been talking about migrating organs and stuff. We can feel them moving. And we're not talking about our intestines, normal, wiggle that they do. We're talking about some very interesting moving around of the, and also there's been some recent ashwagandha, great idea. Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. Ashwagandha is such good stuff, man. I can't say that's just so amazing. Like, yes. Um, and so I totally forgot what I was talking about. I know I was talking about the back and all of that stuff, but then I got distracted because I started thinking about, yeah, there's a lot of need for um parasite cleansings and stuff as well. But when people are focusing on that, and remember, your body requires minerals, your body requires, barefoot on the ground, on the, going out in nature if possible. Like, I mean, I can tell the difference if I haven't gone in the backyard. You know what I mean? That stabilizes you so much. I found that it actually almost completely relieves heart palpitations just to place my feet on the ground. But that everybody has the different experience. Hey, beautiful human. Good to see you, Sherry. Welcome. I haven't felt like this for a while. So trippy and anxious, hoping for a cozy night, says Infrared Riding Hood. A lot of people are having this. I know this is like a comment you wrote like 20 minutes ago, or more. Um, anyway, yes, there's a lot of us that are having these energies coming in, and I think my last count, and that wasn't. I'm not able to get to all of my messages. I do my best. I do, and like, I will notice that what I'll do is I'll look at the subject. Like if that person gives me kind of, because there's so many that are coming in. And a lot of times I'm just looking, and there's been people in that's at the subject line over and over and over again. Anxiety, feeling anxiety, and like, I've reached back out to a bunch of you. I know I can't reach to everybody, but just, yes, so much of people are having this experience right now. Loss of appetite, uh, weird things to do with so we're having the activation of the hands and feet right now. So a lot of weird stuff about the palms of the hands and the soles of the feet, the healing hands coming online. A few people have reported like even an achiness in their hands as they wake that just doesn't have any other explanation. Um, I noticed that it was like when I was about to go to sleep, there was just this weird stuff going on with my hands and like wrist, and even like my forearm just above the wrist. It's just weird stuff. And then, you know, noticing that you're having hot, cold flashes on the soles of your feet and on the palms of your hands, often not at the same time. And they're like switching back and forth, all kinds of weird stuff. Um, this is the activation of the healing hands, and I've learned that when my body wants me to ground, put my bare feet on the soil, go outside, excuse me, that the soles of my feet will talk to me. And before, it used to be like this, almost like a itchy or an aching, like it, I don't know, just kind of weird sensation, but it's turned into it whenever my feet like start to boil, like it's the soles of my feet. It's not even cold outside. It's not cold, wet, lawn or anything, but my body wants me to stand outside, and all of a sudden that balances itself out. All of a sudden my feet feel better. So, listen to your body. It's talking to you, and it's trying to figure out your language, a language you can understand. Lots of B vitamins for the nervous system too, says Deborah. By the way, I forgot to say that. Excuse me. Crazy dreams, and I ended up crying on my sister's steps yesterday, said it before I could. Yeah, dude, really weird dreams. Really weird dreams. It's crazy. And emotion. We've been also really encouraging, insisting people talking about relearning how to cry, you know, and just letting yourself have these emotions just kind of spill out like they're meant to. You know what I mean? So I'm sorry that you're going through it, because I get it, but I also am happy that you're releasing it. I think it's really cool that spirits always called like anything that is advanced spiritual technology, and that they call crying spiritual technology. And there's a lot of groups that exist that, I mean, like I'm talking about species, if we want to use that classification kind of a word, um, don't have that capacity. That this is a gift, like it's innate for us to transmute, on the spot. And then we've, had guilt and things associated with it, weakness and words that don't apply, in order to curb our use of it by conditioning purposes or means. However, once we can return to remembering letting yourself cry, often laughing will inspire similar sensations. So if you can laugh instead. Crying, a lot of times it's really good to start crying if you can't get yourself going. I'll go to, and I need to send somebody something. Oh, I forgot to send your session. Compilations of um, uh, um, compilations of people being nice to each other. What's it called? Random acts of kindness on YouTube. They usually take 10 minutes long. And it's people being nice to each other. It's people being good. And it just, that inspires like that Hallmark commercial kind of, tear. And it's like, oh, people are nice, and it starts the stream. I found that it started, and then lean into it instead of pulling away, and that's my guidance for anyone who's struggling with that. Because like crying is really important. I'm so glad Infrared Writing Hood. I'm glad you're always here too. And that's really cool. Yeah, I love it too. It's fun. Cosmic Detective. Hi, peeps. Milet. Woo, woo. Good to see you. Man, yeah, dude. We are in the energy. All right. It's crazy right now. 3:33 p.m. my time too. I started tingling. Amazing. All my indicators of buzz. Wings on my temples. I saw a headache reference. Did I not read it? Oh, I didn't. I just clicked it. I think anyway, yes, wings on my temples. That's really cool. There's a lot buzzing, vibrating all over, and then I'm having a lot of stuff on the crown chakra too. I've been noticing kind of like just below the kidneys on either side, they're kind of like been switching, that there's been something, it feels good. Something good happening, weird, that feel good. But yeah, the wings on my temple, she says, and then we have this headache reference. And there's been a lot of headaches. I was talking about this a little bit earlier, so you probably heard me, but I'm going to just remind people who didn't hear this, is that we have this energy moving in through our sacrum, which is next to our sacral chakra, which is why it's called that, but it's on the other side, down the back, and it's going up, and it's meant to circle through the head and back down again. And the energy also goes through the shoulders and into the arms. It doesn't need to for these purposes, but it does help. Anyway, this is creating an ankh and letting this energy flow. It looks like a little stream that can bend and move at will. And it is multicolored like a rainbow. It's a rainbow stream, So anyway, a lot to do with that. And by the way, I don't know, I didn't make as big of an importance about the fact that on Sunday last week, that was the first time first, as far as what I'm hearing people say, that that Saturn has gone into Aries, and Aries, it as is the symbol of speaking up for the underdog, setting clear, healthy boundaries. Not it's not possible to be quieted, in this energy of Aries. It's action, and it's you know helping the loud crowd hear the small voices in the crowd. It's not being passive about what's not okay with you. It's that kind of stuff. And so that energy that's bringing Chronos in, the timekeeper, Father Time, this is pretty significant shifting that's happened, and this is going to occur for 3 years. Except for a retrograde, we're going to have, of course, so we're in that energy right now. And so all this stuff is shifting, and it's shifting into this new energy of play, and where everybody is in love with everybody in a good way, not, not romantic way, anyway. It's really good. It's really, really good that we're here. I'm really excited about it. And then that shifts us into this now moment, the 1st of June, for those of us in the Northern Hemisphere. Also, before I forget to say, we are going to have a group meditation on the evening of the solstice. And that group meditation, because it starts, the solstice as officially starting at 9:42 p.m. Central Time. That's 2:42 UTC time for those wondering. Um, that we'll probably do it quite a bit later. So, for those of you who aren't able to join some of these things that are earlier, it'll be easier for you to come. Anyway, there's a lot of stuff going on. Let's go come back to focus center now. We are right now in an energy surge. It's pretty intense, and it's been picking up as we've been talking. So I just kind of want to grab it and show you guys while I chat some more about this and grab some more. No, we're still. It's actually, I'm surprised. It feels like it's increasing, but it's actually a 4.333 on the KP index. So, um, anyway, let's come back to y'all. Been super spicy. Yeah. Just these weird, like, this emotion bubbling up that it kind of shocks you. You shock yourself. You're like, wow, where'd that come from? I didn't know I had that kind of spice inside me, you know? And it's just like, well, all right. All right. Like, yeah, don't F with me. But that's also part of this Aries energy I was talking about. You know, if it ends up being in conflict when an individual is, um, and that's typical for those of us that are as loving and service oriented as we are, that we often will, kind of passively hint at what's not okay with us, but it keeps happening and it keeps happening. And so we're setting a precedence. That person may not even have any idea that's not okay with us, right? And once we do declare our, set our boundary clearly, by then we've kind of built it up inside of ourselves that we've gotten so frustrated they haven't picked up on any of the hints, that it comes out kind of sideways, loud, and sometimes there's casualties, you know, because figurative speaking. Anyway, so when this type of stuff is happening, that person's caught off guard. Now, I'm not trying to make somebody who's causing anybody issues, the victim here, but just remembering where they're at as we're learning now to speak our truth in this energy of Saturn being in Aries, is that we're going to, they're going to be all caught off guard. And so allowing them, the benefit of the doubt is what I have learned to do. Y'all do you, and they may not have any idea it's not okay with you, so anyway, um i'm gonna jump a little bit because I've gotten so far behind in your comments. Try sleeping green tea, lemon and honey, add unflavored gelatin and chill for jello. It really helps stomach. Right on, thank you. My eyes are not doing great either. Yeah, there's been a lot more of this eye stuff. Okay, so I find that the measurement of this a lot of times is not as clear as we'd like it to be, because often what's happening is you're raising your frequency, your vibration is now higher, so therefore able to perceive things that you weren't able to perceive before. So if something's vibrating here and you're vibrating here, which is a great place to vibrate, it's good. It's just you can't see that stuff up here, right? And so we usually ascend, we think we're ascending like this, it's a clear path, when it's actually more like this, right? So as we are raising our frequency, the visual range is kind of like somewhere like, because you can sort of see and then see it really good, right? And so as we're doing this, some of these things are actually coming in and out of view rather than going out of view or focus, and I found this to be true even with buildings. There's some people who don't actually see these buildings. Some people don't actually see, a lot of different things, and anyway, that's often not, I'm not saying that's the case always, that's often something about that. Another thing to add about the eyes, I found this to be really useful information, is by my own experimentation on myself, doing different parasite detoxings and cleansings and things, that when I really kind of dug down and did a real serious cleanse, all of this goop that I had been having issues with regarding my eyes resolved, my sight, and I came to realize and then have a conversation with spirit about, and then later on look up that yes, most parasites reside within the area of our eyes, or often they will reside within the area of our eyes. What's fascinating about this is that also, as soon as I no longer desired grain or sugar, and that tells me one clear thing, that when you get a craving for sugar or for grain, at least when I did, it was the parasites talking, not me. I know it sounds creepy, but it's good to be aware of. So, um, all right. Oh, so buzzy. Felt the flow of energy begin when Mila said it's 3, 2, 1. Then blast off. It began here. Deep healing breaths helps me. Thank you so much for your comment, Cara. Magic tear. That's right, Elsa. It's so healing. It's so healing to allow ourselves to release, to transmute this way. So just let yourself let that flow. Let that flow. Buzzy and not even a Kazemi. Yeah, I know. We do have a Kazemi. This has become a thing. It's a thing, right, Elsa? Is so we're oh goodness. The Kazemi's on the 24th. Jupiter Kazemi's on the 24th. And of course, we know that there's a lot about Jupiter. Yeah, there's a lot. This month is a very packed month, guys. And I find it super fascinating how many of these big events are all like surrounding this window of time between the 17th and the 25th. The 25th is a super new moon, another super moon. And then we have a micro moon on the 11th, which is the opposite of supermoon. Like the fact that it's like boom, boom like that, it's really interesting. There's a lot of significance about the date of the 19th, and the code that I've been receiving, especially since a year or 5 years ago at that day. So it's there's going to be a lot of liberation energy, and it actually is really interesting. I didn't put that together until just now. It once again speaks of that same thing that I first was channeled that information regarding the motion of Saturn into Aries for the first time, and it's got a lot. It's got a lot of the same kind of effects that conversation was about too, is here on the 19th, where it feels very almost spiritual revolutionary y. Saturn and Aries, start and stop energy. I have that in my chart. It can burn out fast. Yeah. Yeah, so I have a lot of Aries placement, and Saturn, yeah, and there's a lot of stuff about that too for me. I eventually start and finish most projects. I like starting them the most. I used to sketch all the time, and I had so many sketches that were like 70% done. Like that's if it wasn't coming out spectacular, I would just, move on to something different. Oh, then of course Father's Day is on the 15th this year, and so there's a lot to do with that masculine fatherly stuff energy coming through too. Elsa says underdog, ground dog, prairie dog, prey ones, saying sweet words. So cool. Thank you, Elsa. Yeah, it's really cool how things are kind of finding their balance in it. Energy looks calming now. Last bit to go, maybe for another hour. Yeah, for now. we have another big. I don't know if you heard that there's another. So it's a triple. It's a triple. The biggest solar storm of 2025 is inbound. This isn't even what we just experienced. I could be mistaken, but I don't feel like I am. that there's actually quite a bit more that we can anticipate, because yeah. But within the next few hours or so, maybe 12 hours tops from now, is my guess, is when we're going to get some more influx of energy. So we'll see how it goes. Ground. A lot of times it's useful to water fast. If it's in alignment with your body and your health, your body better than anybody else. But that's something that I've been noticing to myself doing, as well as my daughter. Like, we're not um, we're doing a lot of grounding kind of activities, and we're doing a lot of like quieter moments. I'm enjoying having less and less devices around. You know what I mean? Like, we've been turning off the internet more often. And um, if you don't do that in your home, and I strongly suggest that you do, especially at night, Wi-Fi um, is one of the main factors that is directly intended to affect your pineal gland. In fact, they they tell the story of the invention of Wi-Fi as an accident when trying to mess with sound wave warfare. And I used my own word first. I said sound wave. I can't remember what it was actually called, but it meant that anyway. And then it was a byproduct, like, oh, we could use this for, and so anyway, aluminum, fluoride, Wi-Fi. There's a handful of other things too, but those are the main things that will affect our pineal glands. So at least at night when you're sleeping, you don't need internet. I don't think, but it's up to you. Your world is different than mine. If you can, turn it off. If you need your phone to be used for an alarm clock, turn it on airplane mode. It still has some frequency coming off of it, but it's not like as strong. And if possible, it's strongly encouraged not to have your phone near you when you're sleeping. Try to let put the phone in, even, as far away from you as possible. If you're using it for alarm, I know it got some limits. So anyway, you forgot. Haha, I love that. Forgetting is becoming a new emotion. Plasma says, in mind, out of body, in mind, out of mind. I feel we are learning to drop thinking very quickly. Yeah, I'm noticing that too, that it's not meant to kind of stay. I realize that our mind, our brain, whatever it is that you use the word for to refer to the library or containment place of information, is not actually the brain or the mind. In fact, this is a limiting thing that we do. It causes an overflow, like a bottleneck of the flow of knowledge and information, where it's actually more like a filter. And your heart and spleen are actually the ones that are like reading. And that's the main communicators of your physical form. So, having said all of that, while we're having this activation of the remembering that's happening here in the hippocampus between the pineal gland and the brain stem, if you point at your nose and could push it all the way through, you'd get to the back of your head, and you'd be pointing at this area. This hippocampus is long-term memory. And I find it fascinating to have recently discovered back in March that this long-term memory is connected and associated with previous incarnations and beyond. Akashic. This is limitless knowledge and information. Well, this is being liberated, and as more light is brought to this area of the body, this hippocampus area of the brain, that it's not only improving and bringing more light to the pineal gland, liberating it in a lot of different ways, where there's plaque perhaps or different types of things that are barriers. These are being released due to its growth. It outgrows its shell, that this artificial sheath and barrier preventing its fuse. It has bioluminescence, by the way, rainbow bioluminescence. You can find all kinds of documentation and visuals regarding these findings from different places that they just don't talk about very much, even though it's true. However, what I'm guiding, I'm bringing this conversation to is that this swell of the hippocampus then swells out, and all things that aren't of this frequency are then pushed off. And it turns out, in the area of the brainstem, we have, as a society, as a human, as a race, that is the human species, or whatever we're calling that, that is like the low self-worth area that, or voices that we're having come through. These are like almost like um I would call it a parasitical energy. Yeah. And so, and that's it, speaks to us from the back of our mind, the "you're not good enough" kind of words, the shame and the guilt and all that stuff, and the belittlement that happens. It's coming from this place, the brain stem. And what's interesting too is that many groups have, over the recent years, started calling this area of the brain the reptilian brain, because they have detected this is where the low self-worth comes from. This is what lights up when low self-worth or shame, or someone is deeply, unhappy with themselves. This is what's being activated. And now it's being pushed out. It's being pushed on, away, and guided out to a different wherever, and not being affected by it any longer. Though there are physical sensations and things happening from as a result of this pushing out, all the way to, I've been noticing like these, like they're kind of like blisters, weird blisters that are like, that have been popping up on the back of my neck, and even into the beyond, into the hairline and beyond, like um I on the spine all the way down. A lot of people, I've seen so many images now, people send me pictures where it's their back, and like you just see like it looks like perfectly symmetrically spaced, you know what I mean? um anyway, these are just the physical leftovers of this energetic. It's funny that they use the word plague, but it has plagued humanity, kept us, our frequency low enough, just low enough to not reach these higher depths, or higher. It's interesting because depths of connect to that inverted universe. But yeah, so now we're being released from the confines of this glass ceiling that we didn't know was there, right? So it's good. It's just it's crazy how it's all working. Ascension physical and spiritual is not neat control. It can feel like chaos. It's okay to let go of the control way. Oh, sister, I totally agree. Yeah, and it's an art form, an acquired taste, you could say, letting go of control. It takes what it takes to learn how to do it, and on occasion, you'll find that the people who release control then are able to, for the first time, find control. So it's pretty. It doesn't seem like it. That would be the side effect of it, but it truly is. It's so bizarre. Oh my gosh! Thank you, Chef Deb. Thank you so much. Orange juice fun. I do need more orange juice. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that so very, very much. $99.99. Thank you so much. Sending you love. Wow. That was so nice of you. OJ Fund. This is the best. I know, right? That is so funny. And cute and lovely. Thank you. Laid down to integrate big energies Friday, 11 p.m. Woke up 17 hours later at 5 p.m. Saturday. Yeah. Yeah. That what I, you know, I do like changing the calendar to the new month, but then because of the one I have, I rip the month off. It makes the first part of the first week of a month is always hard, because I can't make reference, but I know what you're talking about. I made notes on my calendar what was happening, and yeah, oh yeah, there was a lot. That was really, and around that time, the whole world had some type of weird activation. Often we were finding things to do with pretty big weather, like big weather. Uh, Also, I'm pretty sure that was the same time that village in Switzerland was crushed by ice, or a glacier that had been up on the peak of this mountain. There's you can't even tell that used to be a town. That was a really weird thing. Kazimi, okay, 24th of June. That's right. And I mean, unofficially, we're still in the Kazimi, that we had. Now, again, I moved my calendar, but I'm pretty sure it was the 29th. Could be wrong. But it was just recently, just a couple of days ago. No, it was Friday. So yeah, anyway, I don't know. Yeah, lots of Cazimis going on. Cazimi is a superior solar conjunction. Oh, hey, by the way, for y'all in the outback down in Australia, people, um, there's a lunar occultation of Antares on the 11th for the southern hemisphere, and um, if you look, you'll be able to see this completely happen. It's the brightest star in Scorpio, Antares is, and it's going to be kind of a sight. Like they're making it a big deal. So like the way it is like the like the North American continent's up here, and then like they have it like where it encompasses this whole area down below. I suggest that you look it up and see if you're in that visual range of it. I'm not sure how I got to that knowledge. Oh, I was on my phone and that's a screenshot. Perhaps I'll try to post it later. Anyway, that's something that you can see. We'll be able to see that they're really close for in the northern hemisphere, but for the southern hemisphere, it's kind of a treat. So it's going to be 444 in Michigan. That's when that's so cool, Chef Deb. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I forgot to actually read your comment. Liberation. Holy moo, Mila. 19th June, always huge for it. Yeah, dude. The 19th is freaking phenomenal. A triple conjunction. This is also the Juneteenth holiday. Some stuff. So I kept getting all this code about Africa, and this was on 2019. And this was around the time where I was noticing all this extra mullein growing everywhere. And I'm like, there's going to be some kind of upper respiratory thing Guy is already providing. And then anyway, fast forward to, it was actually on the summer solstice for the northern hemisphere, the winter solstice for the southern hemisphere. On that day, 2020, was a total eclipse over viewed over the continent of Africa, and it was the very first year ever that it was a nationally recognized holiday. Juneteenth. Juneteenth is kind of a fascinating story because we have all of these different cultures within cultures all over the world. I'm sure, and that Americans try to say that they're the only melting pot, I think, but perhaps we're a more extreme case. Who knows? Anyhow, one thing about that is that when the Emancipation Proclamation had occurred, there were some. This is how the story goes, and there were some slave owners that chose not to tell their slaves, the people who they had enslaved, and just keep doing what they were doing. Anyhow, it took quite a few months before, as people who had been freed from enslavement started to kind of move around freely again, which, by the way, there's all kinds of evidence that many of these individuals were already on the continent before the invading Europeans. So that's really an interesting thing that I'm finding fascinating about our hidden history coming back up. Anyhow, so what had occurred was the migration had led to these other individuals who were still being enslaved unknowingly against the law, and had other people telling them. And so that happened on June 19th. Whatever that year was, like in the 1700s. In fact, it was the last time that we were having the same alignment with that we are right now. So that's really interesting. I just realized that. Let me grab my book and tell you very clearly, because I don't want to misquote or say it incorrectly. However, this links a lot of stuff, and the fact that there's so much emphasis. Yeah. So that was the same time that Neptune, or at that time, that was also when Neptune had moved into Aries. Aries, Neptune being in Aries is a pretty big deal. Now I'm talking about something different than the Saturn movement that just happened also, which is of course incredibly significant. But this particular motion into Aries from Neptune has been noted throughout the ages to be significant times of spiritual revolution and liberation of people. So I just find this to be really, really. Anyway, it all lined up, and then that all happened. You know what I mean? And like, I'm not pretending to understand or be more aware of this part of our history more than someone else. This is just information that, you know, I've learned, and it's useful to be aware of. You know that there's quite a lot of hidden truths kind of being released now. So, and a lot of this is peaking on the 19th. So, if you got it, if it's possible, that's on a Thursday. If it's possible for you between the 19th and like the 24th, you know, maybe even the 25th, maybe if you're planning on looking to see when to do a vacation, maybe that's a time to like do a staycation or something. I don't know. Anyway, Uranus in Gemini incoming early July. Big shift in energy shift from Taurus. Yeah, dude. This particular motion that we're anticipating a pretty big deal in July. July is going to be huge. And I mean, of course, so is August. Man, we're just all the way through October 22nd. We got stuff going back to back to back to back. So my birthday is the 10th. I was hoping to fit in a sailing week away around the 17th. Maybe the seas may be stormy. Well, I mean, yeah, like I can tell you that it will be the 17th is when the stuff's kind of starting again. That's the double star day, you know, when you have the Regulus is lining up. I believe, yeah, it's in the constellation of Leo. It's a planet star conjunction, what this is called. And I think this is really significant, you know. So anyway, and then you have, of course, you know, all this other stuff going on. I'm not saying that it's going to be something to be afraid of and hide from. I'm just that energy that I'm so used to just regulating and transmuting the energies that are out of harmony when I'm in the vicinity of it, that I will overdo it if I'm in large chaotic groups. And so when there's a lot of energy that everyone's going to feel on some level, and when they don't understand what they're feeling, they kind of react bigger, you know, with the muggles, right? That I just choose not to put myself in those energies because of that. So there's no caution there for anyone else that can be in those energies easily. So 111, what another one? So, oh yeah, so there's a triple conjunction. Where is it? Triple conjunction, Moon, Saturn, Neptune. You can see this in the eastern pre-dawn sky. That's also the last quarter moon, you know, and that's also Juneteenth. That's also, you know, there's a lot. There's a lot. Yeah. I think you are spot on, Mila. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm very happy that you're here with us. Okay, no ladders. Yeah, that's so funny too. Last time Elsa told me no ladders, I had just fallen off a ladder already. And I was actually going to climb a ladder again today. And she had told me no ladders, like, and it was for the same reason. It's got to do with my wind chimes. It's kind of funny, but yeah, she's right. It happens. She's correct. So this is a time to just remember, if you want to go clean the gutters or do something up on the roof or climb high, and you can put it off, this would be a good day to say, I'm going to put it off. And then, you know, you can have an excuse for your honey deer list. Joyce says, I think I may cancel that sail away storm incoming. I'm not going out in the storm. I don't blame you. I do that. I definitely do that. I find it hard to sleep if I don't turn Wi-Fi off at night. Yeah, it actually really does affect us. Like, I can feel it. It feels like it's slight tension in your energy. You don't realize that you're kind of in this place because it's on so often, But then when you turn it off, there's like this, and yeah, you can fall asleep so much faster than having it on. In fact, on occasion, that's how I've realized I've forgotten to turn it off, is I couldn't come to a complete rest. EMF magnetics, Wi-Fi effect. Yeah, dude. Sleep with my shungite bracelet brackets on. Yeah, shungite's awesome stuff. That's really gonna help and assist. Yeah, vegan vixen. Yes, Kara. Wi-Fi is awful. I turn mine off at night. Also, phone as well. So it's a good idea. I knew you meant bracelets. It's a really good idea. Yeah, I know, the OJ fun. Isn't that cute? Thank you so much again. That was really generous of you. That was beautiful. I barely think, I just observe. That's the best thing to do. And it flows through us the way that it's meant to, in the moment that it's meant to. Well, I still haven't addressed all y'all. I know I really wanted to. Should we round up some climbing gear? Yeah, it might be a good idea, right? Hi, Mila, love you. Thank you. Enter the void. Good to see you. Welcome. Yeah, yeah. I used to do all kinds of, like, I'd scale, like, if there was like a building made with a facade of brick or rock, usually concealing the Tartarian building underneath, I've discovered. Um, I used to climb that stuff all the time. Like, I was always climbing up stuff. I would go out and I'd I'd climb. I lived in a part of Utah where there was just all kinds of amazing, like, canyons, and I would just go climbing for the purpose of repelling. Like, I was crazy. Like, there was part of me that was kind of like, if I die on accident, then God will let me, and maybe God won't notice it's suicide, so He'll let me die. Because there was part of that when I came back, when I was 4. I knew I wasn't going to be able to cause my death, but it didn't stop me from trying a handful of times. I was very depressed all the time. Like me saying a bad day now is like I raise my voice for like 30 seconds to my child or less. You know what I mean? Back then, a bad day, or that would have been an amazing day that I just said. I'm such a different person, and that's been due to doing this trauma work. And for those of you who have been asking, if you are interested, I do offer sessions, and the link to that is in the description of my video here. There's a bunch of different times that you can pick from, though. If there is a specific time frame that you require, I've been known to accommodate, and shift around some things. There's people who join me from Australia that need later times than I have offered there. I can't go as extreme as like late evening or nighttime in Australia, but I can do like some move around a little bit. So anyway, just let you guys know, because there's been some questions. Anyway, I should get going. It's gonna be an amazing week. Y'all just using these energy portal windows. So on the 3rd, thank you, Elsa. Also, on the 6th. So the 3rd is the 369 day, and then the 6th is the 66 portal. We also have the moon meets Spica and Virgo's brightest star in the 66 portal. There's a bunch of other things. The moon is apogee and on Saturday the 7th. There's a bunch of other things going on, but it starts to calm itself down, and tell about the 17th. So if you're like me and you just don't want to deal with cleaning up everybody else's energy mess, then maybe think about spending less time in large groups. But you don't have to do that. Best thing you can do is self-regulate, give yourself some gentle love, where a lot of us forget to do that. We're too concerned about everyone else. You need to fill your own cup up first before you can feed someone else from it. So it's 411, the lowdown, the information code of the states of America. I love all of you. Thank you so much. You're awesome too, Joyce. Thank you all so much for being here and for joining us every week, for showing up and for being part of this. This revelation, this discovery of self, and knowing that, you don't always have to turn to a pill or a doctor to find balance. Using some of these natural healing, you call it homeopathic healing, but even when you're standing on the ground without socks or shoes, there's also a lot of study regarding what the term is called earthing, which is just grounding, putting your feet on a tree if it's too cold, so on and so forth. There's a lot to do. Remember your minerals and your water, and mostly be gentle with yourself. You're worth standing up for. You're worth voicing a boundary for and staying in your no, saying no and meaning it. Sometimes it's difficult to create. However, once you get started, then you find that it becomes much easier. I missed a few, but not by choice. Well, you always are around me. I get it. I can't do it every day either. Kenny, keep shining your light, and you, sending you so much